Different's great, but being different for the sake of being different, I'm not a big fan of, right? If you just want to be different for the sake
technology
of it. But
increased, I would hide behind it.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes.
Because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Master Connector Show. I'm your co-host, Rob Genovesi, and I want to thank you for joining us today and hope you're joining us every single week as we go live on LinkedIn, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, like I said, every Wednesday. Please join us. Bookmark your calendar so you don't miss an episode. And look, we've got amazing guests coming here sharing their stories, their insights, their experiences to help you level up to hit the level of success that you're looking to hit. If you can't make it every week, we understand, but we know there's got to be somebody you need to hear from. Go to this one. Go to masterconnector.show, and you can see the roster of all the guests we have coming up, and you can look at it and say, there's somebody I need to hear from. Bookmark your calendar. Don't miss it. Be there. And the great thing about live, you come here live, you can get your questions answered. You should never walk out of a room where you're listening to somebody speak without asking the question in your brain and getting the answer to it, because you never know. It could be the closure of the gap between your knowledge base that makes it easier and faster for you to get to the level of success you're looking for. So don't miss that. And look, Steve and I, we talk about connecting here, and we hope that you're connecting with each other when you come here live. Connect with others in the comments. You can ask each other questions. You can meet each other. This is about LinkedIn, but we're bringing it off too. If you don't catch this live, catch the replay on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, you name it. We are there, so you can catch all the replays. And, as far as connection, that's what you want to do. It's not just about a mechanical thing that you click. It's not just about a business card you collect. It is all about connecting. And Steve and I overcame. We are two former shy guys, two introverts who overcame fear of talking to people. I don't think Steve was afraid. Maybe he just had some stumbling blocks. He'll talk to you about some of that, but we've all got obstacles in our journey. You can get past them. And here we are every week hosting a LinkedIn Live, talking with amazing people, the tops of their field, and all because what? We were curious enough to be able to say, hey, how do you truly connect with people and get the results you're looking for? So let's bring him on. We're all connectors, but he is the master connector, Mr. Steve Spiro. What's up, Steve?
What's up, Robbie G? Great to have you on here. And yeah, who'd have thunk, right? That we're here now doing this live broadcast as introverts and people that were pretty clueless. I know you say I didn't have fear. I was deathly afraid. Are you sure
about that? I see a black belt on your book. There's no black belt on my book.
Yeah. Well, listen, fear, right? Fear the fear, and you feel the fear and do it anyway, right? And that was really, I've learned to just do that. So I was fearful, but I didn't let fear stop me. I guess that was the point of it. But I just appreciate you. What's going on, friend? Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct, and I'm excited. This is going to be a great show, and if you're on here, make sure you get in the comments and connect with each other. Good morning, Russ Hez. Good having you on the show with us here. But here's a question. What if the reason opportunities aren't finding you on LinkedIn has nothing to do with your talent, but everything to do with how you're showing up? It's interesting, right? And we've had several LinkedIn experts over the years talk to us, and I've met with some of them, and we have the best of the best coming on today. But listen, this has been a journey for me, and it's been a learning process. And one of the things that I've learned along the way is your LinkedIn profile shouldn't be about how loud you are, and it should be about how clearer and more intentional you are in terms of how you're communicating what your persona is, who you are. One of the things that I needed to find out first was who I am and what is my persona. And so, yes, the Master Connect was born in my case, but you need to find your voice and your persona, if you will, and through storytelling. I find that it's a really, really great way to communicate who and what you're about. And in those storytellers, I did a post today about this. You want to make sure that you're being authentic and talking about some of the things you've overcome over the years. Why not? You know, again, one pillar of our show is grit and persistence. And, you know, why not share some of those things? You know, like in my case, I talk about I was introverted and bullied as a kid and, you know, dyslexic and all these things and overcame them. And I think what happens is when you share vulnerability, you share that personal side, people buy into you. Like, this person's real. This is not, you know, and we're in this AI world that, you know, I love to speak on stage about how, you know, we could break barriers in this digital era, you know, especially with AI. The more human you are, the more you're going to connect and break through the clutter, because there's so much AI bot stuff going on out there. And but today, you know, you want to be human. You want to show the real side of you, in my opinion. And no, we're going to dig into a lot of that. And so, you know, think about, as you were going through the show today, think about what's your profile picture, what's in your about section. Think about, do you have some recommendations that people have, you know, have put for you? All these things. Think about that, and make sure if you can, ask some questions, because we love questions. We love you know, your feedback and so forth. And I just also want to say hello to Jimmy. Great to have you on the show, Jimmy. Jimmy's a good friend, and just blessed to have you in my life there, Jimmy, as well. So, but yeah, if you're ready, if you're excited, which I know you are, I want you to put in the comments, let's go, because we're going to have my man, Robbie G, introduce our guest. Let's go. Here you go, Robbie G.
All right, let's go, everybody. Julie Livingston is a LinkedIn top voice, public relations expert, and thought leadership strategist who helps leaders and brands stand out where it matters most through visibility, credibility, and influence. Her passion for media began early as the first Long Island press delivery girl in her Queens neighborhood and evolved into a career guiding executives to amplify their voice through LinkedIn strategy, content, and media placement. Julie specializes in turning expertise and authority on the world's largest professional platform, helping leaders move the needle without noise or gimmicks. Known as All In and a breath of fresh air, Julie brings clarity, collaboration, and results to every conversation. Please welcome to the show, Julie Livingston. What's up, Julie?
Hey, Rob. Hey, Steve. Great to be here.
Great to have you on here with us, Julie. Yeah, it's awesome. Been anticipating this for a while, right, Julie?
That's right. We've been working on this for a couple of months for sure.
Oh, quite a few months, but excited. It's a blessing to have you on with us here. So let's get right to it. You know, one of the things that we talked about was visibility, right? And how are you showing up, and what is your image and so forth. And I know you have a background in the, you know, PR space, but so community, type in hashtag visibility. Here's the question. Julie, what's the biggest mistake professionals make that quietly kills their visibility on LinkedIn?
It's very simple. They don't optimize their profile. A lot of people say to me, you know, oh, I put my resume up there. Oh, I haven't looked at my LinkedIn profile in a long time. Well, if you don't optimize it according to what the platform is looking for, you're not really going to be seen. You're certainly not going to stand out in front of key constituents.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah. You know, I heard it said years ago, you know, and not that many years ago, but definitely LinkedIn is no longer just a resume placeholder. It should be your personal brand. Right. And so I love that. So let's continue on here with authority. Right. And so community, type in hashtag authority. And by the way, I want to welcome our amazing Yolanda Chin back on the show. Yolanda's is a staple. Like I said last week, it's not a show unless Yolanda is on our show. Okay, it's just we just appreciate you, Yolanda. Anyway, so here's the question on authorities. So community, get in there and type in authority, and make sure you're connecting with each other. Okay, especially Jimmy, Yolanda, Michael. You guys should connect. Michael Chernick, by the way, welcome, Michael, good friend for years and years and years. I think Rob knows Mike too, but great to have you on the show as well. Anyway, here's the question for you, Julie. How does someone shift from posting content to being seen like you as a thought leader?
Well, I'll take you through some of the elements of an optimized LinkedIn profile, because I really think that's the basic foundation that you're going to build upon. So first, you need to have a professional headshot. And I say professional, it's worth the investment of a few $100s to really get a great headshot where you're making eye contact and you look like you look like how you want to look in front of a client, or in the workplace. You have a headline that really describes very succinctly in very few words what you do. Mine is all about thought leadership and LinkedIn, and public relations. And you can look at my profile to get a sense of that in my headline. One of the most important areas that people almost always forget about, they just ignore it, is called the background header. This is the area right behind your headshot. And people most often leave it blank. Although sometimes I've seen vacation photos or,
Generic
some
image.
other generic shot. And it's really important to use that's prime real estate for you to telegraph people what you're all about and what you do. So mine says thought leadership expert. You can see on my profile what I've written there. And so it has my website URL. So instantly, within 10 seconds, they know who I am. You can use a platform like Canva, which has a free free LinkedIn background header templates to do this, to create something that's customized. So it's really pretty easy. And it will definitely grab more attention, and your profile will look more together. It will have more of a cohesive look. In your about section, make sure, in your header, make sure that your contact info has an email where people can reach this. I can't tell you how many times I see contact and people just have their LinkedIn profile URL. That doesn't help me. It's more of a pain in the neck. And that means I have to go fishing and find out how I can reach you, because not everybody checks their LinkedIn messaging as often as they should.
Right.
Further down, make sure that your about section really encompasses everything about you, and share a fun story. I shared the one about my first job as a Long Island Press paper girl, being the first girl in my neighborhood, but share something that shows something about your personality. Mm-hmm. Mine, I like to think of myself as somebody who perseveres through everything. Mm-hmm. And that's the magic of, kind of what I do as a publicist, and thought leadership expert. So make sure that your about section is optimized, and you have there. So you do have a lot of room. In your experience section, add the meat on the bones. I can't tell you how many times it looks like a resume and it's just one bullet point, and it doesn't really talk about what you do. What do you do at your current position? So really add that and do it in bullet point form so that it's easily scannable, so that anybody who looks at your experience section can very quickly get the gist of what you do. Another thing that you can add to your experience section is your thought leadership. If you are somebody who writes articles or has been quoted in the media, this is wonderful for search and really positions you as an authority in your field. You can add a publication section underneath the experience area. So for each job experience, you can add publications where you've been featured, and you can add a graphic too. So it really adds some punch to it. And I think that's a great feature that almost everybody I've worked with forgets about. They don't use it. Don't forget to add a featured section. This is like a theatrical marquee, and this is like a slideshow of things that, again, you want to telegraph people about yourself. Like in my featured section, I have my free downloadable, which we're going to talk about in a little while, my tip sheet. And that's called Unlock the 5 Hidden LinkedIn Strategies that Top PR Firms Swear By. And then I have a couple of other articles that I've written, blog posts and so on. So again, if people just scroll down and see your featured section, they get you instantly. Again, add the meat to the bones of the experience areas and your titles. And don't forget to add volunteer positions, because that really, again, shows different parts of your personality and how involved you are and connected you are and how seriously you take the work you do. So add that to your experience section as well. There's a special area for that, for volunteer opportunities, and your education. Many people just put in where they graduated from, but I like to fill that out even more. Make it rich, make it really exemplify, show them what you've done in school when you were in undergraduate or your graduate degree. If you're a young professional, it could be what you've done in high school, in terms of extracurricular activities.
One thing, I mean, that was just a crash course, everybody, in a LinkedIn profile, how to do it by Julie Livingston. But I want to touch on something that really ties what you're saying together. First of all, a pet peeve of mine, just so I can get it off my chest. How many times I have had a face-to-face with somebody on a Zoom or coffee or whatever, and I think I know what they look like because I saw their LinkedIn profile photo. And then when they sat down, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm waiting for somebody else. Like, no, it's me.
The photos
joking,
look
but
like you.
Sometimes those photos are 20 years old and people change over time. So please, people, what Julie said, get a professional headshot, make sure it's updated. But what I want to tie together what you're saying, Julie, is tell me if I'm wrong about this. Everything you're saying here, if LinkedIn is more than just a resume, and we know it is, and it's really kind of this dynamic document or billboard or profile, whatever we want to call it, does that mean that you should be looking at it on a regular basis and making sure you're shoring up these things? Because we do change, we evolve over time.
Rob, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's important to look at your LinkedIn profile, I don't know, every month, every couple of months, certainly once a quarter, just to make sure that it's up to date and really tight. Luckily, it's a living, breathing kind of thing. So you can always change it. Nothing has to live there forever. And if you don't like the way you've worded something, then change it. Change your featured section, change your about area. You can always change whatever you have. Change your background header to make it something really, really special. So absolutely use the features to change up what you have every month, every couple of months.
Nice.
Absolutely. And you did a phenomenal job of kind of like Rob said, a crash course on the profile. So let's sort of shift a little bit, and kind of finalize on the authority piece and about posting content and how does that piece of LinkedIn help you as well to create that true thought leadership?
Well, LinkedIn is really the ultimate thought leadership platform. It just is. It's where to build trust and where to build your authority so that you stand out and can make more important business connections there that will help you in your career. One of the things that completely overwhelms people, I have this in almost every conversation. How often do I have to post? So not to overwhelm everyone, I would say you should post at least once a week when you start and build up to at least twice a week and then 3 times a week. Usually post on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Those are the most highly trafficked days on LinkedIn. Although I have experimented with this, and sometimes I do find that on Sunday night, people are scrolling on their LinkedIn, and that's a good time to post as well. So, you have to kind of see what your audience responds to, but definitely start by posting once a week. And if you don't even know where to begin in terms of content, pick an article that resonates with you. I usually go to Harvard Business Review or, MIT Sloan Management Review to find articles, or Psychology Today to find articles on leadership and thought leadership. And then I comment on the article. I mean, that's the easiest thing to do. So that'll get you going.
Another thing I want to throw in there to get people going is everybody, no matter what they do, they keep getting the same questions over and over again. Like you said, Julie, you get the same question. How often should I post? Right. Well, depending what your industry you're in, you get the same 5-10 questions. Answer those questions in the form of content, man. You do it, man. You get so much response from that.
I love that, Rob. And I couldn't agree more. I think, answering those commonly asked questions positions you as the expert.
So I want to ask the flip side of that question, just to dig on this a little bit, because I'm the guy that posts daily and I do it because it's simple for me. But is there a downside to posting daily?
No,
because I've got it down to a science. Is there any downside to it?
There really isn't. You're just building your credibility. The one thing I will recommend is that you use video, which you're using right now.
Yeah.
Because LinkedIn loves video, and they have been enhancing the video on the platform and how it appears on mobile devices too, since so many of us use smartphones these days.
Yeah.
And so video really, first of all, it brings you alive, and it gives people a sense of you and your personality. And people want to connect with people on LinkedIn. So that's why these individual personal profiles are so important. And the use of video can just make that real personal connection.
But I thought video kills the radio star.
That's old news.
Okay, sorry. Some of the younger folks listening that have no idea what I just
Apparently,
said.
it's still killing it. It's still on its way. But I want to say that, what I love about what you're saying, Julie, is doing video and then hopping on board what Steve said. He posts every day for our audience every day. Steve, does that mean the weekend too?
It does.
The weekend too. So look, I don't think you have to post on the weekend, and I didn't in all of 2025. I was posting Monday through Friday. I started out, like Julie said, twice a week, 3 times a week, very steady. And then I went to 5 times a week. And then what I realized was I was doing so much authority-based content. And on the weekend, you can tell people relax a little bit. So I think the weekend, if you're thinking about it, audience, you don't have to, but if you're thinking about posting on the weekend, a little bit of insight into you as a person to help break up the authority content. That way it doesn't seem like the same thing, like you're pitching on a Sunday. Nobody wants to hear your authority content on a Sunday. They want to hear what you ate for breakfast or something like that. It turns you into a human being, right, Julie? Like this variety.
I'm going to say I don't totally agree. I think it really depends. And I think the beauty of this platform is that you can experiment. As I said, sometimes Sunday morning or Sunday evening, like around 7, is a good time to post. It really depends who's reading your content. So play around with it and see. Maybe Monday is a good time for you. But the research does show that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is typically the best time, usually during the golden hours, which are between around 8 and 10:30 in the morning in your time zone.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. So for those folks that may have some questions on, what the content to put out, I want to talk about pillars, because we have 4 pillars of our show: authenticity, being others focused, having grit, and building community, growing connections. And it's helped us frame what we're doing, who the kind of guests we're bringing on, the content, etc. So community, type in hashtag pillars. And here's the question for you, Julie: why are content pillars so critical, and how do they prevent burnout and inconsistency?
That's a great question, Steve. And, I'll put my public relations hat on here, because when you have content pillars, this provides the cohesiveness within your content, and it keeps you very focused on the key things you want to be known for. These are the themes that you're going to focus on in every post, and one theme at a time, hopefully. But for a client that I have, she is a leader in a Fortune 50 company, a telecommunications company. Her pillars were digital transformation, women in leadership or women in the STEM fields, and customer experience. And so in every post, we would focus on usually at least one of those themes. And it gave people something to remember her by. It's like a hook.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and I also want to say regarding posting, there's a couple of schools of thoughts, right? There's people that I think post for vanity's sake. They want the most amount of views or the most amount of likes, and there's value to that. I'm not saying, but what I post, I'm not trying to get the most. I do take a look at and I experiment what content, what visuals are getting me more likes, because I think that's interesting. But I also do it because, listen, when people go to your profile, they're going to see your post. They're going to see what you're about, and there's value to that as well. So you just got to think about why you're posting, I think, is a big part of it. But I want to jump gears a little bit and talk about features a little bit. So community, type in hashtag features. So this is a very nitty-gritty question. And Julie, maybe you answered already and I missed it somehow. But which newer LinkedIn features are people sleeping on that could really elevate their credibility faster?
Well, one of them is called Verify Me, and that
Okay.
is another way to build trust with people on the platform. You know, we live in an AI world, and so they do have, it's under resources in your profile,
Mhm.
and it's the Verify Me feature, so you could get verified on LinkedIn. So I recommend doing that. I'm kind of in the middle of doing it myself, so
Mhm.
I think it's a that's a good idea. And then remember that, especially for B2B marketers, that LinkedIn is really the new word of mouth.
Mm.
And so video is a wonderful way to really bring your personality to the screen and introduce who you are as a person, as a human, to your audience. So video has become much more important in using LinkedIn, for sure.
Love it. That's great. And last question. I just want to, and you kind of touched on it before, but I just want to maybe reemphasize community. Type in hashtag consistency. So, what's the value of consistency in your opinion? What's the real value there?
You know, there's that old adage about marketing messages needing to be seen like 7 times before they're memorable. I think being consistent on LinkedIn is really important, because the more you hammer down your message and the more you put it out there in a consistent way by focusing on your content pillars and having authentic, honest content that helps people, offer your tips and advice and your insights, even when things go downward, by sharing that and being transparent really makes you very, very appealing to an audience. So that's what I would say.
I
Is
love it.
a question on that, Julie. I'm not sure, because I hear different rumors about LinkedIn and algorithm, whatnot, and I try not to pay too much attention to getting hung up on the algorithm. Just stay real. But as far as consistency, my experience was that when I was consistent and then not, right, so a short period of time and then not, it was very difficult. But when I was consistent with same type of content and a pretty decent profile that was pretty well optimized, once I was really consistent over a period of several months, I did notice. Then I started to gain traction. Is there a direct link to it in terms of
Absolutely.
what LinkedIn rewards?
The more consistent you are in your posting, the more consistent you'll be in front of people, and you'll feed into the algorithm, and you'll get rated, ranked higher.
That's great. Well, we could keep going forever, because this is one of my top favorite topics. And Julie, you're incredible. Let's sort of wind things down here. I know you have an amazing offer for the community. Would you please tell us a little bit about that?
I have a free tip sheet on my website, which is wantleverage.com, called Unlock the 5 Hidden LinkedIn Strategies That Top PR Firms Swear By. And you could get that by going to my website. It's on the top of the homepage, and download that for free.
Love it. Appreciate
But
it.
reach out to me on LinkedIn, connect with me.
Well, that's what's going to be the next question. What's the best way for them? Is it LinkedIn, or you have any other ways you'd like them to reach out to you?
LinkedIn is really the best way. I check my messages all the time. You can also write to Julie at wantleverage.com, but LinkedIn, I think, is the best way.
Love it. It's great. Well, Julie, we really appreciate you big time. Thank you for being amazing, and we'll see you in the green room in a few. So
this was great fun. Thanks so much, Steve and Rob.
Yep.
Okay.
Here we go. All right. Tech stuff. Love it. Anyway, great. Oh, man. Amazing. So listen, if you think that was great, wait till you go and check out next week, the 18th of February, 1 p.m. EST. It is how to land and leverage your TEDx talk. And you know that I was recently landed, and Ryan was a big part of that. So you're going to hear a lot of the backstory there. It's going to be great. And hopefully we'll see, fingers crossed, maybe my TEDx talk will actually be officially out by the time we have Brian on next week. But it's going to be a great show. And to learn more about some of the up and coming shows, go to masterconnector.show. You can also learn about how to be a featured guest, as well as also some of the upcoming episodes. And what if you want to be a sponsor like my man, Mr. Russ Hedge is of our show, you could also do that as well. But and listen, for those who haven't seen it yet or heard about it, my man Rob G, he has an insightful new book called Don't Fear the Brand, The Art of Building a Strong Brand That Attracts. It reveals how he overcame paralyzing fear to build a strong brand that 4x'd his revenue. Get the inside story and exact strategy by clicking the link in the comments now. Go do it right now. It's amazing. And I read his book. I think it's phenomenal. To me, it's the best, one of the best books, if not the best books, as it relates to branding, but with a personal story twist. I love it. It's great. Anyway, I want to finish up with a quick story, talking about stories, right? Justin Welsh rebuilt his career by intentionally using LinkedIn to share honest insights about leadership, burnout, and building sustainable businesses, standing out by being clear instead of loud. By consistently showing up with value-driven content and a human voice, he transformed his personal brand into a multi-million-dollar solo business without ads, cold outreach, or hype. Listen, Justin's story is just proof that when you show up with authenticity and serve before you sell, you don't just grow a brand. You ultimately show that you're more human and being more intentional, and ultimately you can be that beacon of light. God bless, and see you next week.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes,
because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives